What's up, guys? How are we all doing? Welcome back to a brand new LEGO DC Supervillains video, and today it's a special one because we are going to go on ahead and showcase all of the Dark Knight's metal characters that we have created. Now, to be quite honest with you guys, it does kind of make me think, like, if there was one DLC pack that I would have loved to see for LEGO DC Supervillains, and I really do believe that whenever we inevitably get another DC-themed LEGO game, it will feature these characters in there, but I would have loved to see an actual DLC pack of some of these characters, because as good of a job as we've done on some of them, and of course some of them not so much, and I'm sure you guys will critique the designs that I came up with, and that's perfectly fine. I would love for you guys to do so. First of all, name your favorite character out of the ones that we've designed, and then also your least favorite in the comment section below. I look forward to seeing that. But as good or as bad as our designs are, I do think it would have been really cool to see official releases, because the Dark Knight's metal characters are probably the newest and most popular character designs that we have seen from the DC universe in, I would probably say, even maybe in the last, like, decade. So, with that in mind, let's get rocking and rolling. The first character we have here is, of course, the Batman who laughs himself, looking very epic and ready to take down all opponents within, I guess, the Dark Realm. So that is looking pretty stylish indeed. Next up, we have Drowned right here, who honestly was very challenging to actually assemble. But I think we did a decent job. Obviously, I would have loved to have been able to do a better job on the torso design, just so it's a little bit more accurate. But outside of that, I really do think we kind of knocked it out of the park. Like, we got a lot of the key elements that you would expect for the Drowned character. I think we kind of captured them, so I think we did a pretty good job with this character as well. Now, outside of that, let's move along to the next one. This is probably my second favorite design out of all the ones that we've built. This is Dawnbreaker, aka Lantern Batman, who turned out very cool. I wish there would have been a way to, like, make the minifigure skinnier, because I think that would have been more obviously applicable and would look more accurate overall. But I think that in general, this guy turned out to be very cool. And again, how can you not like a crossover between Batman and the Green Lantern Corps? All right, so from there we then transition onwards and forwards to probably the least accurate, maybe second or first least accurate. This is the one and only Merciless, who is supposed to be this giant knight who has a giant saber and almost looks like a character for, like, something like Berserk or something like that, or maybe Cloud from Final Fantasy with the giant saber. So that's pretty much the key elements with this character, is this very epic looking helmet and then the giant blade. And outside of that, as you can see, the vast majority of the costume is pretty much just blue, and that's just because that's what it is. There really isn't much more accuracy that we can add to the design outside of that. So overall, a pretty minimalistic and plain design, but if you really look at the design for Merciless, I think we did capture most of the elements that are kind of like must-haves. So I think we did a pretty good job at that. Now, of course, keep in mind, guys, if you're wondering about how to create these characters, I'll have a link in the description for all of these characters and when we built them, so you can go on ahead and check out the recipes for each character so you know how to build them in the game for yourself. And if you'd like to improve them, you can do so as well. Now, this right here is my favorite of the designs. This is Red Death. I think we did a very good job of being very accurate with this design. We captured all the key elements that you would need for this character, so I'm very happy with the way that this one turned out. I think that really, if we put Dawnbreaker and Red Death, those are probably the two that turned out to be most accurate. So I'm very happy with the way that those ones turned out. Of course, I do look forward to hearing what you guys think in the comment section below. Now, outside of that, we also did build the giant behemoth that is Barber Sauce, who is giant, as you can see. So he is pretty massive, and I think we nailed a lot of the elements for this guy. I would say that either Merciless or Barber Sauce are probably the two that are least accurate, just in terms of there's some elements that are just impossible to capture, because Barber Sauce is supposed to be kind of very, like, hunched over, and he's supposed to have the cape and wings. It really is supposed to be a wingspan, not a cape. So it's supposed to kind of, like, tie into the hood. and it's very difficult to do, obviously, within the limits of the customizer. So unfortunately, some of those elements weren't able to be captured. But regardless, I still think that within the limits of the game, we did do a pretty good job, and we did capture at least some of the key elements for this character. And so from there, we then move on to another character. In fact, this is the last one, and surprisingly, this was the one that probably got the most positive response on the actual individual video, and this is Murder Machine. I was honestly very, very taken aback by the fact that so many people thought that we did a really good job with this design. I mean, I'm not saying that we didn't. I was just very surprised by the fact that so many people thought that we did, because a lot of people said, like, hey, that's a pretty accurate take, and you've captured most of the elements for Murder Machine. So I think we did do a decent job with this one. I don't know, maybe it's just the fact that it's so bright and everything. I feel like it's not very Dark Knight's Metal, because Dark Knight's Metal is supposed to be very metal and dark and, you know, a lot more like almost like gruesome and things. So maybe that's why it's like the attitude of the series doesn't get captured very well in the design. But overall, I still think we did a decent enough job. And of course, I don't know why exactly I gave him the ability to scale up. That's a little bit odd. So that was a little bit of a mistake on my part. And then last but certainly not least, sorry for the quick edit there because I couldn't actually swap out of the giant characters, is going to be the last member of Dark Knight's Metal is Devastator, who turned out actually pretty sweet. I was very, very happy with the way that this one turned out. And of course, he also does have the ginormous form available to him so that he can become actually bigger than the other Dark Knight's Metal characters, because he's supposed to be kind of a giant, towering, hulking character, because it's a crossover between essentially Doomsday and Batman. So that's the idea behind him. So with that in mind, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are all the Dark Knight's Metal characters that we have now added to LEGO DC Supervillains. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you did. And of course, I do hope to catch you guys here next time. Bye.